Welcome to the XWP Tonight Show. For more than 20 years, Kelsey Media has been publishing some of the most inspiring and engaging content for their readers around the world. With a portfolio of over 80 fantastic brands, including huge names like Stuff.tv and Psychologies. Kelsey Media's magazines and sites have a tremendous reach and a wide and varied audience, with interest in everything from tractors to Porsches to fitness. Today I'm joined by Steve Jones, Digital Director at Kelsey Media, a driving force behind the brand's continued expansion and success, to talk about the importance of performance in publishing. Welcome to the show.
Good to see you, thank you.
Kelsey Media has been around since 1989. In 30 plus years, have you seen publishing evolve?
I only really comment on the last sort of few years where I've been involved in the business, but what we've seen is in that time, where we sit in the specialist space is kind of held up from a print point of view. But the opportunity for us is to develop that business and to grow into digital channels, to find out more about our users. And then we've got some other broader interest brands where we really need to be digital first in our thinking and put a lot of investment into that, working with you guys, looking at bringing on new content providers. So there's a lot changing in the space, and because our portfolio is so broad, it's kind of different in every area, really.
And for us, we've been working with yourselves for about a year and a half. What were some of the challenges Kelsey Media faced before working with XWP?
So we had a lot of challenges. We had we've got a very big portfolio, and a lot of that's come from acquisition. So we had within our portfolio a couple of really important brands for us that came from acquisitions from large media owners, where they were on a different platform. They were both on Drupal. They were both unpicked from essentially a multi-site setup. So we had a lot of challenges, particularly with one of our most important brands, which was Stuff, where quite often we had a lot of downtime. The site wasn't reliable. It was very, very hard for us to get the right development resource, which is all outsourced. And we had sites on different platforms. We had a lot of stuff on WordPress, a lot of stuff on Drupal, and even had some stuff on Squarespace. So we had a lot of technical challenges, and that meant that I got a lot of calls and contact at the weekend and evenings with site being down, and we had a brilliant editorial team that were hampered by a challenging CMS that kind of held them back, really. So that there was plenty of challenges before we started working with you guys, and you've definitely helped us solve most or all of those.
It always starts with a challenge, some reason why you're wanting to engage an agency, and we're always looking for how can we get them to that state where they don't have to be kept up at night worrying about these things to get to a better state. So I think it's been great that we've had that journey together. But speaking of journeys, like Kelsey Media, has quite a lot of breadth, like it has 30 plus sites, over 70 brands. How do you manage that many brands as an organization?
It's a massive challenge because it is a very diverse portfolio. We've got things in the B2B space with agricultural brands. We've got quite a lot of automotive brands. We've got some stuff in the sports space. And, we've had to prioritize really and treat things differently. So there's brands within there like Boxing News, which, their approach is very much social first. It's all about immediacy and leading the conversation. So things like their social reach and podcast is really important to that brand. Whereas what we've done is we've highlighted a group of kind of 5 or 6 brands where we see considerable digital scale growth being a priority for us, and they all meet a similar criteria, really. They're all in spaces around people's passions and interests. They're all global passions and interests, so things like technology, things like photography, fitness, outdoor pursuits, and some of the automotive portfolio as well. So we've tried to look at where that passion involves a lot of product, and where our editorial authority and trust enables us to help people on a user journey. So whether that's telling people what's new in that industry, whether it's review content, whether it's comparative buying guides or endorsements, and it's the brands, it's the 5 or 6 brands that meet that criteria that we've focused on investing in significantly, whether that's from a resource and a technology point of view. And then we'll look at other areas that we can roll that out, and other areas where the challenge is slightly different, and it's more about smaller specialist audiences, and it's about capturing data, knowing more about our audiences to being a catalyst for whether that's content, whether that's getting the right people in the room for a round table, whether that's about actually feeding into our events business, which we've got a very established events business in the automotive sector, but we've got some really smart stuff going on in some of those more specialist B2B areas. So it does a different thing in different areas. Some of it's about scale, and that's where we're investing, and that's where we're able to kind of work with people like yourselves, which has been brilliant.
I've loved looking through the portfolio of brands from Porsches to fishing. Like there's quite a wide gamut within that, which is really neat. Well, one specific brand, Psychologies, which was a really interesting one, I think one that does really good for society. We reimagined and redesigned the membership process from the ground up. Are you able to talk about what that has meant for the brand?
I think it was an interesting time that we were working together on the Psychology project, because essentially its mission is to give inspiration and advice to help with people's emotional well-being. So, we've had some quite challenging times, and it didn't make sense to have any of that content not accessible. It needed to be accessible to everybody. So we kind of flipped it on the head. We worked with you guys to move away from having some of that content behind a gate or a wall for our subscribers and our core audience. And we moved away from that and used the membership to enable us to work with very carefully selected partners that actually gave them access to the CMS to write content that becomes available for all of our users. So it wasn't about putting things behind a wall. It was actually about using membership to give those carefully selected partners the opportunity to tell people how they could help them and to, add value to our site by contributing directly to it.
I think that's wonderful, especially, during this time when we started this project right smack in the middle of COVID and lockdowns and all that, where, mental health and challenges of that were great. Like, I think it's wonderful that you have that as one of the brands and the ones that, we could contribute to.
Absolutely. And it was an interesting time to be working on that brand. And, we've seen that the work you've done on both of the two sites that you've re-platformed from us has put them in a brilliant place where it's enabled those editorial teams to kind of capitalize on that and taken away all the frustrations that they had with the old platform.
It's been an absolute pleasure working with Kelsey Media team. Could you tell me a little bit about what it was like for yourselves working with our team, working with XWP?
I think, it was a brilliant experience. We worked on two big projects for Kelsey with XWP. They're both very important brands for us. It was at a time where across those two projects, there's some people that are involved in both, but every time that new people were involved, they brought something valuable and made a contribution to the project that they're in. And I think from our point of view, we very much rely on outsourced development resource. And, XWP, the work we did on these two brands has kind of set the benchmark for what to look for from other partners when that's the case. It's been really important for us to make sure that those two brands stay within the XWP care. We absolutely would see working with you guys again. It was also, it was a challenging time. It was all done over Zoom. And, there was a lot of fun involved in the project, which I think is important as well.
Steve, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure working with you, collaborating on these really neat projects, these wonderful sites, which everyone should go and check out and support the great sites of Kelsey Media. And thank you for being on the XWP Tonight Show.
Thank you and your team for the great work they did on both projects.
Thank you. We'll see you next time.